We talk about the concept of business continuity in the realm of risk management a lot, but one aspect of business continuity I don't think is considered enough is elasticity of demand. So many of you would have heard of this concept in the context of price elasticity of demand, which means how sensitive your customer base is to changes in price. So some products will be very price sensitive, or services. So if you own a car wash and you charge £5 for a basic wash, and you suddenly put it up to £7, there might be several other competitors that they can go to and get it for £5, and your customers will just leave and your business will fall apart. So you have a very price elastic service. In other cases, if you sell Fabergé eggs and you decide to put the price of the Fabergé egg up by 10% of the original price, people may not care. They'll probably still buy Fabergé eggs if they're particularly good. The people that are buying Fabergé eggs in the first place are probably not the people that are going to worry too much about the price of them. So that's the concept. But more widely, and something that isn't considered so much, is the elasticity of demand of your customer base in terms of more of a more general context. So if we look at what we're experiencing right now, the businesses that have fell through straight away are ones that are non-essential and aren't needed. So to sustain everyday life, some of them are just sort of experiencing a rough patch. So say like coffee shops, for example. The ones that are still open, people aren't going to them so much because they're not out and about, they're not doing much outside, so it makes sense. But when we go back to working as normal, it's likely that people will start going and buying coffee out again when we're going back to work and things like that. Fuel for cars is another example. We're not driving around, we're not using garages. They'll probably pick back up again, but other things have been completely decimated as soon as there's any sort of economic shock, as soon as there's any sort of drop in public confidence, in consumer confidence. The businesses that are first to go, and I think a lot of us learned this the hard way back in the 2008 recession. There was like a prime example is the kitchen fitting industry, kitchens, bathrooms, anyone involved in that whole setup. As soon as people started losing their jobs, losing their homes, they stopped buying kitchens and bathrooms, so that fell through. People that were cleaning bins, people stopped getting their bins cleaned, and that's a monthly expense they can save. That was straight away gone, and it led to immediate job losses and companies closing down. And these things obviously we want to avoid, but if you think of it in terms of business continuity, how can you sustain business continuity if you work in an industry that is so elastic, that's so sensitive to any sort of change in consumer confidence? So it's something to think of. It's something to think, are we an essential business? Do we have contingencies? If anything changes, any sort of adverse event happens, do we have a business that will keep running? Or are we one of the ones that is doing well while consumer confidence is high, but will be the first to be struck off when people have to make hard decisions, when they're losing their jobs, when their confidence has fallen in their ability to sustain their current lifestyles? If not, how can we diversify? How can we broaden our product and service offering, our range of offerings? How can we make ourselves essential? I think that's a very key question to be asked, and it should very much be treated as a risk, because there are companies that would have been built during the sort of bull run, as we call it, the growth and expansion of the economy that's happened, say, between 2012 and 2020, that will have built up confidence and think that they can sustain their success, that are now being decimated because of a sudden shock to the economic system and to consumer confidence. So it's something that maybe people haven't thought about. Maybe people have gotten secure and complacent and maybe learned the hard way. But I think it's something that should be thought of as a significant risk, and it isn't in many cases. Particularly working in internal audit, most of us are still within the industries within public sector and within financial services and heavily regulated industries. So it makes sense that those industries, you don't tend to have to consider these factors in it, because they're not demands elastic industries. But if you want to broaden out more into the private sector and to small and medium enterprises as well, in particular, they're offering one product or one service and basing all their reliance on that and aren't able to quickly adapt, then it's something that those responsible for the management of risk should be considering. And just a thought I wanted to put out there, and I hope that gives people some thought, albeit it's a bit late in the day. The risk has kind of been realised, I suppose, but it's something I've been thinking about. It's something that I don't think is considered enough. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you soon.